So you're obviously here because you've seen the title, how to get a ragingly profitable finance brokerage in Australia. Now, this can be anything from mortgage brokerage, auto finance brokerage, unsecured business finance brokerage, secured business finance brokerage, personal loan brokerage, any of the above and all of the above. So we're going to cover 4 quick things on how to make sure this happens, that you get a ragingly profitable finance brokerage. First of all, lead generation. You're going to want to nail your lead generation. This is the number one thing in a service-based business, and obviously a finance brokerage is a service-based business. Unless you've found a way to have more of a technical side and you've gone down more of the SaaS, the software as a service kind of angle, unless you've done that, you are going to need lead generation for your then either BDMs, finance brokers, anyone who's working under your company, or it's just you are going to need leads. Now, the biggest thing with leads is you need to make sure, first of all, just basic criteria is met. You can worry about contact rates and all those things a little bit later, but first of all, the biggest things are going to be qualified leads. Now, qualified leads, what this means is they have your minimum criteria and they are verified in some regard. Those are the 2 biggest things you want to start off on, and I'll tell you why. Let's say they're not qualified to the maximal extent. You need to start off with them being qualified, because if you ring someone up and they make $3,000 a month and you're in unsecured business finance, obviously you can't service them. $6,000 a month, yes, potentially you can, but $3,000 you can't. So you can't even service these people when you spend all this time dialing them, contacting them, following them up, doing all these things. So lead generation, unqualified leads, try and get rid of them. Now, verified. The reason they need to be verified, why SMS verification, email verification, things like that are unbelievably important, is simply because if you then also spend all this time dialing, contacting them, following them up, and then it's not even the same person that you thought it was who made the inquiry, there's no point, so you're wasting your time. That's why those 2 are the most important things to just start off with in lead generation. Now, those are the 2 most important. Next thing is your sales process around this. You need to make sure now that you set up that with lead generation, your next step is to focus on those essentials of contacting them as soon as possible, having your sales script absolutely down pat, making sure everything from the lead journey when they come into your business, it is fully congruent to the time that they leave your business. So they come in, what happens? They get called within 10 minutes within business hours. They get an SMS. They get all of these things. They potentially get an email. They get everything that you could think of that makes sure it is congruent with your brand. Okay? Now, that's leads. That's the initial part that you want sales. Biggest thing, contact rates, tracking, all of these things, okay? So we'll quickly cover tracking. So when you have the sales process set up and you contact them straight away within 10 minutes, you send them an SMS, you send them an email, an info pack, you want to make sure your tracking for your lead generation is on point. So a lead comes in, how many leads did you receive? I received 100 leads. After I received 100 leads, I did 30 mortgage applications or 20 mortgage applications. So you are now at 20% application. Then how many of those did I close? I closed 5. So now I overall have a 5% conversion rate. Now that 5% conversion rate was 100 to 20 to 5. But now what do I have from application to, for example, an actual settled deal, money in the bank? What is that? In this case, it's 25%. Now, that goes from a 20% to 25%. Now, you want to preset your metrics. Lead generation, especially on larger volumes, is not going to be these huge numbers. If I convert 80% of my clients, I've only been living on referrals and things like that. So to scale, you can't do that. You can't be running this 10x ROI business, because if you could, everyone would do it. So referral methods are very good, and you want to maximize referrals. I just did a video and it was on referrals, how to instantly gain 30% more revenue in your business. So take a look at that video as well. Now, going back to what we were saying before, scaling, you are not going to have the highest 80%, and like you're not going to be getting 80%. So set realistic goals. Your lifetime value of a customer, you want to maximum do not exceed 30% of that. CAC, cost to acquire a customer, should not exceed 30%. So if you make $1,000 per customer, you cannot exceed $333 for that customer to acquire it. If you do, potentially while you're scaling, that's okay. But you really want to keep it under, because that allows you to be profitable moving forward. That allows you to basically have staff, have the marketing, make profit, all these things so you can actually progress, because we're all here to make profit. Because if you don't make profit, you can't innovate your company, you can't provide more value, you can't provide more services, you can't increase anything. So that's the first, lead generation, sales, and making sure things around it are just on point. So when the lead comes in, everything is congruent moving forward, okay? Now, pricing power. So initially starting off, you want to make sure that your pricing power, what I mean by pricing power is what strategy are you taking for your business? Because you are going to be building a brand around this as well. So are you trying to become the cheapest rate? Are you trying to provide the absolute cheapest rates? Or are you trying to provide value? Are you actually trying to help them develop a strategy? Let's say you're a mortgage broker. Are you just trying to refinance, let them pull out cash and give them the lowest rate? Is that your strategy? Or are you trying to help them potentially refinance, set them up with a good accountant, then also on top of that, help them reduce their taxable income, move their assets around, help them with more than just the actual mortgage broking? What are you doing? You have to figure that out. So figuring out pricing power, because that will then determine basically how you're going to be moving forward, what your brand looks like, what money you're going to make, what leads you have to target, your sales process. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're a mortgage broker who only focuses on bad credit leads. We had someone actually come to Biz Leads the other day. They were looking for bad credit leads, and these bad credit leads under mortgage broking, they obviously wanted to service them because they really want to help people, and they want to service people who basically can't be serviced. That was their goal. But they also make significantly more commissions on that because they're usually getting higher rates. But they're creating a brand around helping people who potentially want the service more, aren't going to be shopping for rates as much, but then he has to provide unbelievable amounts of value, but also gets paid more for it. So there's multiple things that you have to consider in your market, and that is pricing power moving forward in your strategy, because it leads to your lead generation, your full sales process, and then obviously what strategy and your brand awareness and things like that you are doing. Last point, hire well. Do not think of hiring people for the lowest amount. The only way you can do that is if you have huge instant commission thing like brackets that they can make, as in they have the chance to, let's say you pay them in Australian $40,000 for a finance broker. Everyone knows who, if someone's watching this and you run a brokerage, you know that that's very, very low, 40,000 for a full-time finance broker in unless you have a big comm split. That's potentially more usual in, for example, mortgage broking, but like unsecured business finance, secured business finance, auto finance, all of those, 40,000, that's a very low base salary. So 40,000, let's say you have. And then you instantly give them for the first 5 deals 30% of the gross commission. If you have instant deals like that, that is potentially a bit more reasonable in this case. But apart from that, you can't really offer people low bases and comms. A lot of people want to be able to go home and eat and live, and then potentially do that and move forward with commissions and things like that. They're not going to take a $40,000 base with the chance of making $200,000 more. You'd rather bring people in, because the best people will never come for low base salaries. They never will. There's a classic saying, I'm going to quote Alex Hormozy again. Alex Hormozy says, pay people 30% more and you'll get 5 times the output. That is an unbelievably important rule. So, lead generation, making sure your sales funnel is on point, your pricing power, and make sure you hire well. Those are the 4 main points. To finish off quickly, if you want help with these 4 things, reach out to my other private equity fund, the Vanguard Collective. Myself and my partners partner up with finance brokerages in Australia, the United States, and the UK and New Zealand, and we basically do all this for you. We help and guide you. We give all the guidance for all of this. Secondly, Biz Leads, B-I-Z-L-E-A-D-Z. Biz Leads is the largest lead generator and live transfer generator in Australia in the finance, insurance, home improvement sector. So if you need leads, or you need guidance, assistance, and leads, and you want to work with some people who have done this 10 times before, reach out. But just remember 4 things: lead generation, proper sales funnel, pricing power, and making sure that you know that in that you have a strategy moving forward of where you are going to sit in your market, because everything will depend around that. And fourthly, hire well. Make sure you don't pay people nothing. You are never going to attract the best talent if you hire people for nothing. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed this one and this was valuable, and I'll speak with you guys soon.